Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. We have had a lot of big Destiny news lately. We've had the state of the game. We had Joe Blackburn's video that he posted on Twitter. We've had the Sandbox updates that were announced in the TWAB. There's been a lot of just Destiny news, and a lot of it kind of revolves around PvP. And thank you to those of you who participated in the poll that I posted yesterday on my YouTube page as well, who interacted with that, kind of just gauging where people are at as far as PvP is concerned. Are you optimistic? Are you sort of cautiously optimistic? Or are you really the other way where you're like, I will believe it when I see it, kind of a thing? And that was great to sort of just get a general vibe for how people are feeling. And I wanted to sort of offer my perspective as well as to whether I think this is really like the turning point for PvP. Is PvP saved? No. And I'm going to break that down a little bit. I think it's a very nuanced discussion to have. But first, I do want to say thank you to any of you who have been interacting with my variety content on my other channel. I'll leave a link to that, by the way. I know some people have been having trouble finding it because I haven't really been actively promoting it much. That's because I really wanted to build like a seed community over there that was like authentic and organic. It wasn't like forced, like people like, oh, I like TV, so I'll try to support his thing even if I'm not interested in this other game. You know what I mean? That channel went from having 0 to 30 views a day to getting tens of thousands of views a day, and now over 500,000 views on my Remnant content. That's pretty cool. So I'm taking a step away from that today just to interact real quick with the discussions surrounding Destiny right now. But first, before we dive into that discussion, let me take a second just to thank the sponsor of today's video, Arena Breakout. If you're a fan of hyper-realistic extraction shooters like Escape from Tarkov, then you're really gonna vibe with Arena Breakout. It brings that intense immersive war sim experience straight to your mobile device with the same high-stakes gameplay millions of gamers have come to love. Pull up your map, make a game plan, hit some key points of interest to see who you can take out and what key items and valuable loot you can stuff in your pack, and then hightail it to the nearest exit and hope and pray you don't get gunned down before you can make it out with your haul. Players can choose how aggressive they want to be. Maybe you prefer the stealth approach, take out an enemy or two from a safe distance after stalking them and paying attention to the gunfire around the map, and then slowly make your way out safely. Or you could go guns blazing and see what kind of a body count you can rack up in a single run. But whatever you do, remember that if you happen to die, you'll lose everything you're carrying, and you'll make someone else very happy they caught you slacking. In between extractions, you'll have to make sure that you're geared up and in good health. So manage your inventory wisely, put ammo in mags in pockets on your chest rig, and bring along the right firearm for the job. You'll need to have a plan, especially if you're going to be participating in the Gold Rush campaign and chasing down gold mines on the map and fighting over who gets to take all that sweet, sweet money home. So get your boots on the ground by clicking the link in the description box to download the game on Google Play and the App Store today. And hopefully our paths will cross out there. And be sure to let me know if you score any sweet loot. Alright, let's get back to Destiny. Okay, so is Destiny PvP saved? I had an overall more positive response to Joe's post than negative, right? I had more good things to say about it than bad things to say about it. But I also want to be realistic because I think some people mistook my optimism for like, oh, TV's coming back. TV's back into Destiny. All right, baby. Listen, I have barely touched the game in weeks. Like, barely touched it. I have posted now close to 50 Remnant videos and some Starfield videos as well, just in the last few weeks. And I've posted like 2 to 3 Destiny videos in that time, and they're really just discussion pieces, not me actively playing the game. So I'm definitely not like diving back into Destiny 2 PvP, and there's a good reason for that. Like, all this news is really good news. It's absolutely great news. The whole map packs thing, that's so cool. I wish they had gotten on that like 2 to 3 years ago, but I'm also being realistic here because we got to think about the timeline. What's going to change and when? Nothing's going to change right now. Like, if you dive into, you're excited about this news and you jump back into PvP today, it's going to be the same thing you've been playing for months, for years, to a certain extent. And so PvP isn't going to make like some rapid turnaround. I'm not rushing back to dive into Destiny PvP as like the heart and soul of what the majority of my content is about. Because nothing's going to change for, realistically, I don't think, I would be genuinely surprised if any map pack came alongside the final shape. I would expect it in like maybe the season after, because I'm assuming we're going to get a full like year of the conclusion of this Light versus Dark saga. I'm assuming that it's going to be like kind of like the system we got going on right now, where the new DLC comes out, the Lightfall DLC comes out, and all of the the 4 seasons for the year as well are kind of wrapped up into that. I would assume it's going to be the same thing with the final shape, where we get the final shape, but we also get these seasons for that content year as well. So sometime in one of those seasons, I'm assuming we'll get our first map pack, because development takes time. It's not quick. It's not, I mean, they've told us this a million times, like, hey, making maps isn't easy and it's not fast. And so it leaves us to then question, okay, well, how far into that process are they? Is this a change they made 2 to 3 months ago, where they said, okay, we're going to do this map packs thing, we're going to tell them about it a little while from now, but for right now we need to get the ball rolling? You know, I'm actually really doubtful that any progress has been made towards map packs at all. And just remember, I am very optimistic about the future of PvP. I do think that Bungie will get to it. I think they will turn it around, but I'm being realistic about the amount of time it takes to turn such a large ship. And here's the suspicious thing to me. If they already had a plan in place for a while now to do map packs and to start releasing those map packs, wouldn't that have been in the state of the game? You know, wouldn't they have said so in the state of the game instead of what they said? Because what they said is quite the opposite. What they told us is, we don't have the resources, we don't have the manpower to do that. It would mean taking people off of PvE teams. You know, they didn't say anything about that. They told us the opposite. So what changed over the course of the past few weeks? Was it all the negative sentiment towards that state of the game that sort of prompted this change, this redirection, this new focus on doing these map packs? Because if I had to fall off the log somewhere, I would say this map pack thing, this was not a plan 3 weeks ago. Because if it was, that's what they would have said. They wouldn't have told us the opposite. You know what I mean? So in a few weeks, we went from we don't have the resources to we're doing a full map pack dump. We got a team working on new maps. We've got a new Crucible Strike team that we're going to build. And they're going to react to things in real time based on community feedback. That is quite the opposite of what we were told a few weeks ago. So I just don't buy that this is a ball that's already rolling and has been rolling. My suspicion is that this ball is being set up to start rolling right now. So what does that mean for the timeline? Well, I think realistically, it means it's going to be a long time before we see any of that come to fruition. So to boil all that back down, all of this is to say, is PvP immediately saved? No. It's going to be some time. So you got to sort of set expectations realistically. So let's talk about reason number 2. A lot of people are like, well, listen, we just got this huge Sandbox update. Big old Sandbox update. Isn't that going to do something for PvP? I mean, it's going to shake some stuff up a little bit. I mean, some exotics are going to be better than they were. Some exotics are going to be worse than they were. Some archetypes are going to be better than they were, and some archetypes are going to be worse than they were. Is that really going to have a revolutionary change on the dynamic of PvP? Probably not. Because Sandbox updates is what we have been doing regularly for years. And we're still in the position that we're in and have been for a long time. These Sandbox updates, they'll shake things up in the meta. But at this point, we are so far along in Destiny that the meta is going to be like solved within days. You know what I mean? We know what works and we know what doesn't work. And I guarantee you, by the end of day 1, Fallout Plays and Astacross are going to have full video breakdowns, playtesting things in this new Sandbox. What works, what doesn't work, what's different, what's changed, what's going to be meta. And it's going to be solved within days. People are going to know what to use and how to use it. That's just how it goes. And so these Sandbox updates, we've been doing this for a long time now, and it never really shakes things up enough to have a huge dynamic impact on the state of PvP. It's just a question of what's the meta now. And this isn't me dogging on Sandbox updates. I think Sandbox updates are very healthy. They're mandatory. They should happen constantly and consistently, and Bungie's done a really good job of doing that. And it does help to sort of shake things up a little bit, upset the cart just a little bit. But in terms of having a dynamic impact on the state of PvP, it's I don't think it's capable of doing that. Unless it's on par with some of the Sandbox updates we've had in the past, which like brought special weapons back to Destiny. Because remember, when it launched, there were no special weapons. It was primaries and heavies. And that's it. That Sandbox update had a major impact for sure. Or like the Go Fast update, which completely changed the entire pace of how the game was played. Those kinds of updates can have a huge dynamic impact on the game. But just Sandbox updates that are like, okay, let's take the thing that's on top and bring it down a few pegs, and the thing that's down on bottom underperforming, let's bring it up a few pegs, we'll see where the meta settles. That's what we're used to happening. It only has so much power to change PvP. But what I do notice is strikingly missing from these Sandbox updates so far is conversations about matchmaking systems. Bungie is very dedicated to the current matchmaking systems and constantly tweaking it and modifying it based on feedback that, hey, it's not really working out for us. Okay, well, we're not going to get rid of it. We're just going to modify it. Okay, well, it's still not really working out for us. Okay, well, and by the way, they're not saying, no, according to our data, it is working fine. They don't say that. What they do say is, we understand. Yeah, we agree. In more or less words, what they say is, we agree this isn't really working for certain types of players, so we're going to change it again. We agree it's still not working for those types of players. We're going to change it again, so on and so forth. And we've been in this loop now for several seasons. And when it all boils down to it, for me, as long as the matchmaking systems in this game are designed to benefit the people who play the game the least, then the people who play the game the most will continue to disengage with it. If you are tailor-making your product to try to reach a new audience at the expense of your current audience, you're going to lose your current audience. You're going to lose a lot in this effort to try and get a new audience. Why wouldn't you just invest in the people that already care about it, already love it, are already dedicated to it? And so as far as these matchmaking systems are concerned, that's really what it boils down to for me. If you're going to continue to target the people who love your game the least in PvP, then you're kind of signing your own death warrant in that regard. If you can find a way to, sure, try to reach new players, that's great. But if you can find a way to make sure that the people who love your game the most are going to feel like they are welcome there, like they're pulled to it, that is what's going to be the ticket long term. And that goes beyond just matchmaking systems, obviously, but that is a big factor. So where does that leave us? Okay, well, all this to say, nothing major is going to change soon. Okay, we're going to still be in this same sort of PvP environment, this landscape that we've been in for, years now. And I don't see anything on the horizon that's going to shake things up in a major way in the immediate future. I reiterate, I am optimistic about PvP in Destiny 2. I really honestly am, and I do think that it's going to come full circle. They'd be crazy not to. I think they're going to put in the work and the time and the resources and the energy and the effort to make PvP in Destiny a banger experience and the best that it can be. But while I'm optimistic, I'm also realistic about the timing on how that's going to happen and how long it's going to take. And I think that's post-final shape at this point. As we transition into what comes after the Light versus Dark saga and moving forward from that point. Because I'm really not too sure if Marathon's going to be for me or not. I mean, yes, I'm going to try it. Bungie makes great PvP games, so yes, I'm going to try Marathon, absolutely. But there has never been an extraction shooter that has grabbed me long term. You know what I mean? Not the way that Destiny has. So I'm a little concerned about maybe putting all of our eggs in that basket. So I really hope that Bungie continues to invest in the Destiny PvP experience, because I like that fast, chaotic arena shooter vibe that they've captured before. And those are my thoughts, but please let me know what you think. How are you feeling about this whole PvP situation? How long do you think it's going to take to right the ship? Is the ship going to get righted? Let me know in the comment section below. I do try to read all of those when I can. And I'm going to go back to my little remnant cave and also continue to gear up for Starfield, and I'm going to be really invested into that grind for sure. Thanks so much for watching the video. I appreciate you. Feel free to leave a like in the video, only if you enjoyed it. And I hope to catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.